The Flash is directed by Andy Muschietti. This is an action, adventure, fantasy superhero movie. This movie is part of the DCEU. The Flash stars Ezra Miller as Barry Allen, the Flash, Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne, Batman, Jeremy Irons as Alfred Pennyworth, Kiersey Clemens as Iris West, Ron Livingston as Henry Allen, Maribel Verdú as Nora Allen, Michael Shannon as General Zod, Sasha Calle as Kara Zor-El, Supergirl, and Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne, Batman. This movie is rated PG-13 for sequences of violence and action, some strong language, and partial nudity. I would say this movie would be okay for anyone 15 years of age and older, but no one below that. This movie has a runtime of 2 hours and 24 minutes. The Flash was released in theaters in the United States on Friday, June 16th, 2023. I have already seen this movie twice in theaters. After the events of the Justice League, Barry Allen is still haunted by his past when his mother was murdered and his dad is now serving time in prison for a crime he did not commit. After helping Batman with a robbery gone bad in Gotham City, Bruce warns him about the dangers of traveling back in time. Even after hearing what Bruce told him, Barry decides to use his speed powers to travel back in time to fix certain events so it can prevent his mom from being murdered and his dad from going to prison for the murder of his wife. Only things do not go as planned and he gets stuck in a different timeline where there are no metahumans, no Wonder Woman, no Aquaman, no Cyborg, and no Superman. Barry meets a younger version of himself and he gets his powers the day that our Barry from the present arrives, but not only does that happen, but General Zod arrives on Earth looking for a Kryptonian. Barry now realizes how much trouble they are in. However, they discover that this timeline has a Batman and they go and find him and end up meeting a disheveled, long-haired, retired Batman. Bruce teaches both Barrys about the multiverse theory by using spaghetti and spaghetti sauce. Bruce at first decides not to help them. Down in the Batcave, Barry finds out that there is a Kryptonian on Earth being held in a dark containment cell at a black site in Siberia. Bruce has a change of heart and decides to help both Barrys, so he suits up as Batman and they go to Siberia to rescue the Kryptonian. Once they rescue the Kryptonian, they realize that it is not Kal-El. They get the Kryptonian back to Wayne Manor. The Kryptonian girl wakes up and tells them that her name is Kara Zor-El and that she was sent to Earth with her cousin Kal-El to protect him. Only during the trip their ships got separated and Kal-El was lost in space and only Kara arrived on Earth. Kara agrees to help both Barrys stop Zod and together, along with this Batman, they form a makeshift Justice League and fly off in the Batwing to stop Zod. During the battle, things start going wrong, and young Barry travels back in time to undo what has happened and try again. The present Barry tries to stop him and realizes that no matter what they do or how hard they try, that the timeline they are both in is doomed, and it is revealed that young Barry tries for many, many years to keep that from happening and that he becomes the Dark Flash and ends up killing his younger self. Present Barry goes back in time to undo the events that he did earlier, which led to his mom's death and his dad's imprisonment. Barry returns to his timeline and his dad is acquitted of all charges for killing his mom and is set free from prison. Barry thinks all is right again until Bruce Wayne comes to Central City to congratulate him and his dad, only to find out that the Bruce Wayne who gets out of his car is not the Bruce Wayne who recruited him just a few years ago to help the other members of the Justice League when they fought against Steppenwolf and the Parademons, and Barry is left thinking, oh shit, what have I done? Okay, that is the summary synopsis for the movie. Here are my negatives. I don't have a lot of negatives for the movie, but there are a few. Probably the biggest gripe I have for the movie are the visuals and CGI. The time-traveling parts were just weird looking and very distorted looking. I mean, during the time-traveling parts, it looks like Barry is in the middle of a stadium or an arena type thing, and all the different parts of the multiverse and the different timelines are laid out in front of him, except they are laid out in like the stands of this so-called stadium-looking thing. Like the people and events he sees are the audience of this arena. I don't know, it's just so out there and it was so hard for me to even wrap my head around it. I sort of understood it a little bit better when I watched this movie the second time around, but it was just still just, way over my head. The second negative is the score of the film. I may have to go watch the film again, but when I watched it the first two times, I really did not feel like there was a score theme for the Flash character himself. He had more of a theme in 2017's Justice League or the 2021 Zack Snyder's Justice League movie. But if there was a theme for the character, it wasn't anything noticeable or memorable or anything like that that stuck out. I mean, I was expecting something epic, and I felt like we as audience members did not get that at all. I mean, hell, Blake Neely gave us one hell of a great score for the CW Flash TV show that starred Grant Gustin as Barry Allen the Flash. I was also expecting some kind of an awesome score theme for Sasha Calle's Supergirl, and like the Flash character, we got nothing, or at least nothing memorable that will resonate with fans and audiences for years to come. Heck, Helen Slater and Melissa Benoist's Supergirl characters had great scores. I know that this is a Flash movie, not a Supergirl movie, but I mean, come on, give this character something. That was just totally unacceptable. I was glad to see certain Justice League characters return, but at the same time, there were 3 who never showed up, as in real people playing the real characters, not CGI characters that we saw. Those characters should have at least had a short cameo scene like the others did. The characters I'm talking about are Ray Fisher as Victor Stone Cyborg. We never saw him. Henry Cavill as Kal-El, Clark Kent Superman. We saw him, but it wasn't, the real person, Henry Cavill, playing the part. The first time we see Superman is he's got his back towards us and it's on a TV screen, and I think he's like stopping a volcano or something like that. And then the second time we see Henry Cavill, it's a CGI version of him in, when Barry's traveling back in time. So we really never get Henry Cavill at all. And the other one is Harry Lennox as General Calvin Swanwick, Martian Manhunter. We didn't see him at all either. And I would have liked to at least seen him once, just for, even a couple of seconds. We should have at least seen them in the movie. Oh, and we didn't get to see Billy Batson and his brothers and sisters as the Shazam family, but that didn't bother me as much as the others did. We did get to see Jason Momoa as Arthur Curry Aquaman at the very end of the movie in the post-credit scene with him and Barry coming out of a bar, so at least we got that. But we should have gotten the others as well. I mean, come on. One thing that really made me sad is, yes, we do see the Keaton Batmobile in the movie, but I was sad and disappointed because we didn't get to see it fire up and see Keaton driving it around and see the flames shooting out the back afterburner. But nothing. We just see it sitting there in the Batcave. I mean, that would have been like seeing Ecto-1 or Ecto-1A in Ghostbusters Afterlife just sitting there in that barn, but never see it fire up and drive around, or see the blue lights flashing and the epic siren sounds going. I just found it heartbreaking that we didn't see the Batmobile in action again. I thought some of Ezra Miller's acting was terrible at times, but just a couple of times. The humor in the movie is pretty good, though there are a few times it was definitely not needed in certain scenes or sequences. There was one sequence that was sort of disturbing to me, and that's when the Flash is at the hospital in Gotham City and it starts to collapse, and the imagery shows us falling helpless little babies. One, when the Flash goes to save it, he puts it in a microwave, and then we see another baby that's falling towards the ground, and as it's falling, we see scalpel surgical instruments headed right for the baby, fixing to stab it. I remember I was sitting there and I was like, oh God, if you really think about this, this is some disturbing shit. I mean, this could give people nightmares, especially new or expecting mothers. So I say this to any woman who is pregnant or has just had a baby: you probably don't want to see this, or you probably don't need to see the Flash until you're done having kids. That's just my advice anyway. As far as Supergirl goes, she had great scenes and sequences in the movie, and what a way to introduce a character. I just wish she would have had a few more scenes of her in action, maybe 1 or 2 of her saving people, and then the others fighting General Zod and his army. I wish they would have kept Billy Crudup in the role of Henry Allen instead of Ron Livingston. I just thought Billy Crudup was a way better version of Henry Allen than Ron Livingston was. Crudup's Henry Allen had more heart and soul, and I thought he had better chemistry with Ezra Miller than Livingston did. The movie does have some pacing issues, and I felt like that there were a few scenes that could have been cut down or even cut out of the movie, and the movie still would have been great and made sense. The very ending scene of the movie really, and I mean really, pissed me off big time. Barry just comes out of court and we see him talking to Bruce Wayne on the phone, and Bruce pulls up and gets out of the car, and we think it's going to be either Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne or Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne. No, it's not either of them. It's George Clooney from 1997's Batman and Robin that got out of the car and met Barry Allen on the steps of the courthouse for the very ending scene of the movie. That made me so damn mad. That made my fucking blood boil. I mean, what a slap in the face to us fans of the DCU and Batman. That is James Gunn's doing. If that is James Gunn's way of saying that he, George Clooney, is going to be the new Batman for the new DCU, then all I have to say is, James Gunn, you're a fucking asshole. If this means George Clooney is going to be the new Batman for Batman the Brave and Bold, then the DCU is already dead before it's even taken off. James Gunn, I like your Guardians of the Galaxy movies and some of the other stuff you've written, directed, and produced, but if this is the direction we're going in, then you and Peter Safran need to be fired immediately. You are going to destroy DC just like Kathleen Kennedy has destroyed Star Wars and is probably going to destroy Indiana Jones when the 5th one comes out. Something else that drove me nuts. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Yeah, this should have been cut from the final movie, and that was the scene with Barry's tooth. I mean, what a waste of time and what a waste to even put in this movie. I'm sure it probably took forever to shoot and then probably took forever to do whatever they had to do with it in post-production, but it never should have been in the script and shouldn't have been left in the movie. It was so stupid. The only disappointing thing about Keaton's new bat suit was the fact that they didn't bring back the gold belt like the one he wore on the 89 suit and the return suit. I always thought that belt was awesome, so it was a shame that they didn't bring it back. Something else that really irritated me and that wasn't explained was, how did Kara already have her Supergirl suit? Did she travel to Earth wearing it? Was it stored somewhere in her ship? And speaking of her ship, where's her ship? So we have some unanswered questions that I wanted answers to and we didn't get. But yeah, where's her ship and how does she already have her super suit? There was one cameo that I was dying and hoping the filmmakers would give to us in this movie, and I think you all know where I'm going with this. The cameo I really wanted to see happen was Grant Gustin's Flash make an appearance, like Ezra Miller's Flash made an appearance in the CW crossover event Crisis on Infinite Earths. There was talk and speculation that it was going to happen, but it never came to fruition, and that is a bummer. That would have been so epic to see Grant Gustin's Flash interacting with Ezra Miller's Flash once more in this film. I think Grant Gustin was disappointed that it did not happen. Heck, I don't even think he was invited to the world premiere of the Flash movie, which to me is very unfortunate. Grant Gustin has been the face of the Flash long before Ezra Miller became the character. He was the Flash for 9 seasons on the TV show, and hell, pretty much a decade. He should have been in the movie and invited to the world premiere. Okay, those are my negatives. Here are my positives. The story. The story that they came up with is really good, though we have seen this story played out before in the TV show with Grant Gustin as the Flash, but this movie has a different take and spin on it. We didn't see it in Justice League or Zack Snyder's Justice League movie, but in this Flash movie we see just how traumatized Barry still is after all these years later, and how it controls almost every aspect of his life, including his career. He is haunted by his mom's death and is haunted by the fact knowing that his father's in prison serving a sentence for a crime he didn't even commit. The way the story plays out is brilliant and really shows how much love and passion the writers of the movie have for the character. There were some things I would have done differently, but overall the story is solid, well executed, and easy to comprehend. I thought the acting by everyone was great. Ezra Miller, Michael Keaton, Ben Affleck, Michael Shannon. Top-notch performances, top-notch acting. The one who blew me away was newcomer Sasha Calle as Kara Zor-El, Supergirl. Damn. She was great. I hope that in James Gunn's new DCU, I hope they somehow bring Sasha Calle back in the role of Supergirl. The characters were great. This is one of those movies where we already know most of the characters, but the ones we don't know are really built up so well that we care about them. But Michael Keaton's return as Bruce Wayne Batman was epic. And I mean totally epic. He picked up right where he left off in Batman Returns, and he just nailed it and literally stole the show from Ezra Miller. I mean, he was great and looked amazing in the suit again and literally kicked ass in every scene he was in. The character of Kara Zor-El's Supergirl was great as well. I mean, we see a really damaged and really broken character when we first meet her. I mean, she's broken physically and somewhat mentally, but we really see how emotional she gets when she learns a certain something from General Zod. I loved this version of Supergirl. Helen Slater was a great Supergirl, as was Melissa Benoist, but I mean, Sasha Calle really brought something new to the character and took it to a whole nother level and just effing nailed it. I also loved the young Barry character, who was played by Ian Lowe, who was great, and even though we don't get to spend much time with him, we see how close he is with his mom and dad, but especially his mom. Maribel Verdú as Nora Allen was amazing, also funny and very emotional and very mom-like in this movie. I mean, the chemistry between her and Ian Lowe and her and Ezra Miller is so good and so believable. I know we've already talked about the score. The score music was composed and conducted by Benjamin Wallfish. Parts of the score were good, but nothing memorable or anything that will stick with fans forever. But when it comes to him doing the Michael Keaton Batman score and building on the material that Danny Elfman created, was great and amazing. I mean, it was like we were back in 1989 and 1992 hearing that score once again. That part he did was great, and I give him a round of applause and a standing ovation. Thank you, sir, for giving us more musical Batman Keaton Elfman score to enjoy and reminisce with. I loved seeing all the cameos in the movie. We see Ben Affleck's Batman, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, Jason Momoa's Aquaman, George Reeves' Superman, Adam West's Batman, Henry Cavill's Superman, even though we just see the back of Superman, and the other was the evil shirtless Superman from the Justice League in CGI form. We see Christopher Reeve's Superman, Helen Slater's Supergirl, and one I never saw coming and was a huge surprise was Nicolas Cage as Superman from a movie that never got made but was in the stages of getting made before it was shut down, and that was titled Superman Lives. I loved all the new vehicles. Ben Affleck's new Bat motorcycle was really awesome and really kicked some ass. I did like Michael Keaton's new Batwing. It was really technologically a few steps up from the one he flew in 1989. But as far as nostalgia goes, I prefer the one from the 1989 movie just because that thing is a work of art and I grew up loving that thing like I did with the 1989 Batmobile. Plus, I love seeing all the different bat suits that Michael Keaton has gone through over the years. But seeing the 89 Batman suit and the 1992 Batman Returns suit was just so great. Out of all the bat suits, I do prefer the 89 suit just because of how awesome it was for the time. Plus, I loved the bat logo on that suit. Barry's new suit is so amazing looking, and I like the orangish yellowish lightning he generates, but I did miss the blue lightning that he generated in the Justice League films. But it does return when younger Barry gets his powers and he has the blue lightning. He, over the years, turns into Dark Flash like he's Savitar and wears a Savitar-type suit made out of Kryptonian metal. He also has some similarities to Black Flash and Savitar, and the Savitar suit from the CW's Flash and the Arrowverse. It's really reminiscent of that suit. Young Barry's fall kind of reminded me of Anakin Skywalker's fall to the dark side. Both characters are doing something they think is right to save the people that they love. Okay, those are all my positives, so now it's grading time. I'm going to give the 2023 DCEU superhero movie The Flash a fast-moving A-. Here are my final thoughts. Overall, this movie was everything I wanted and more, especially with the return of Michael Keaton as Batman. The awesome acting performance that Sasha Calle gives as Supergirl was just epic. I hope this movie does Titanic or Avatar type numbers at the box office, and that it will make the people at DC say, okay, let's give Tim Burton and Michael Keaton one more Batman movie and give Michael Keaton and his Batman a send-off that they so deserve and complete the 1989 Batman and the 1992 Batman Returns trilogy a proper close. Plus, I hope that the DCU brings back Sasha Calle as Kara Zor-El Supergirl. Do I hope that Ezra Miller continues as the Flash? At this point, I don't know yet. But I will for sure be adding this movie to my Blu-ray and DVD collection. If you haven't seen this movie, then my question to you is, what the hell are you waiting for? Go see it in theaters. Don't wait for it to be on streaming. This is one of those movies that demands to be seen in the movie theater on a giant movie screen in a dark room. I mean, it's that great of a movie. Okay, that's it for this video. I'm going to say thank you all so much for watching. Good night. God bless. I love all of you, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.